He told me you killed him.
No. I am your father.
La donna è mobile, qual piuma al vento, sempre una labile, leggiadro viso. La donna è mobile, qual piuma al vento.
Rule the galaxy as father and son.
Muta l'accento di pensiero.
Welcome back to another episode of Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. As always, it's me, the Smithie D. Joining me today is my fellow game changer, Nukin. How are you this morning?
I'm doing awesome. I've been drinking some coffee on this fine morning, and I am so pumped to be here. Thanks for having me on your channel.
Glad to have you finally on the channel. Make sure that you do jump to the description and check out Nukin's channel and subscribe for his videos. So what we're going to be talking about is a very hot topic in the community and between some of the game changers, and that is the fatigue of the Marquees.
Right. It's been a big week so far. I mean, what week is not a big week? Everything moves so fast in this game, and we've seen a lot of communication coming from CG Capital Games, and one of the big announcements we have seen is about Jango Fett. So everyone was sort of speculating that he was on the arrival to on the pipeline to be released, and now he's coming. I think it's September 20th he'll be released, and he's gonna be a marquee character, which is unfortunate because we've been as players having a little bit of some fatigue, or some people have been talking about fatigue with marquees.
Well, for me personally, Nukin, I'm not feeling a marquee fatigue. Like, who doesn't want to get a 3-star character for free? Compared to how characters used to be released via chromiums and tournaments, I think marquees are the right way to go.
I would agree that the release of marquees are nice for the entire player base, because the free-to-play players can at least have the opportunity, if they participate, to unlock the character at between 2 and 4 stars. That is definitely better overall for the entire player base, because yeah, the alternative was tournaments, which weren't bad if you could place in the the threshold to unlock the character, but the majority of the people in the various tournament shards weren't able to get the unlock for the character. So yeah, compared to that, it's a lot less time investment, and the majority of the player base, if they just log in, should be able to get the marquee character. So that's definitely a good thing.
Definitely, Nukin, spot on. I do feel, however, there is a fatigue, but not from the marquee events itself, but more from how they are distributed to farmable locations.
There is definitely a fatigue, otherwise people would not be complaining or anything. I think that the real sort of frustration is not the marquee event itself, but what happens after the marquee event. There is a delay of months for them to become grindable, and then when they're finally grindable, they're put in some of the hardest locations to farm in the game. They're put on hard nodes, and then and now we have fleet PvE, the fleet PvE table, which is basically an even harder version than the Cantina nodes. So I don't know. I think maybe the fatigue and the frustration is coming from one of two things: that there's been sort of an influx of characters that have been all one type of release, which is marquees, and that the second thing is that they're just so hard to acquire because they're going on all these dark side and light side nodes, and they're not even going on the easier ones. They're going on 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, some of the highest energy nodes to acquire.
For an example, we have seen 3 of the 6 of the solo characters go to a hard node. That's 50% of that marquee characters go on to hard nodes, compared to the Rogue One release, which had just base hit a single hard node.
I think last night we saw recently 2 more characters actually went onto some hard nodes, and although they were, they were split up, I think it was Bastila and Jolie Bindo, some of the KOTOR characters, they went onto some dark side hard nodes, and then they also went onto some ship hard nodes. So technically, I guess you can kind of farm them quicker, but the issue is, because what I talked about earlier, the influx of characters has been so high that we're not even caught up with the ones that have been released previously. So even though that they're grindable in multiple locations, you still can't kind of do everything to capitalize on the extra node that they're on.
Yeah, so we had a reduced attempt to refresh, which is pretty much 50%. So it used to be 50, then 100, and now it's been reduced to 25, 50, and 100. The biggest issue here is that where is all the energy going to come from for all these refreshes?
Right. I think that's another actual issue, is that even though they've reduced the cost to refresh a node, you're still in the dilemma of, well, which characters do I grind? And since we have no idea, which legend, there's got to be at least one legendary that comes out before the end of the year. It's been literally almost a year. It's been over 300 days. At least one. We're actually thinking maybe there'll be at least another one of some kind. Probably, we're speculating here, but at least one legendary, but we don't know which faction and which characters are required. And if you can't do them all, you can't grind everything, at least free to play, you're not going to be able to really do all the refreshes of 25 and 50 for every single thing, because you don't have the crystal income to do that on a daily basis, even if you're getting first place in both arenas. So personally, I think that it's nice that they're reduced, but you still can't do everything, and you're still sort of just kind of speculating and hoping and gambling that you're grinding the right things.
Yeah, definitely. Think how far behind you're going to be from hard nodes if a legendary character comes out, and let's say, for example, that legendary character is Holdo, and you're like, hang on a minute, I've been farming the solo characters. Where does that leave me now? How far behind are you actually going to be when that kind of news hits? And then compared to how it was before, with these kind of like panic farms of what happened in the past, at least you'd know what to get, what characters to get the second time around. The issue and dilemma that we're currently facing at the moment is that we're going to know what characters they are, but it's going to take a lot longer to get them up to 7-star on the hard node. So when the information comes out of which characters we need, you want to hope that, you put your energy in the right bets, because we could be in a situation where we're like, hang on a minute, that's going to take me 6 months to get that character, and then that character, then they're probably going to drop another legendary event, and we're just going to be like, whoa, what is going on here?
What are some sort of suggestions that maybe we can brainstorm and think that would make this sort of issue be a little bit easier to handle and to sort of farm at a more relative quick pace? So it's you said it takes 6 months to acquire a character all the way to 7 stars. With some refreshes, I could see that happening. That's still a very long time. So I'm thinking, as a solution, or a possible solution, is to start off by maybe reducing the energy cost to refresh. So they reduced what they've done so far. CG has reduced the cost to refresh the node once you've done all the sims, but they have not reduce the cost of the refreshes themselves. So currently it's 50, 50, 50 for light side and dark side nodes, and it's in the hundreds for the Cantina and the Fleet PvE nodes, potentially reducing the cost of ship energy from 100 per refresh to maybe something like starting off at 50 per refresh. Even just having one refresh at 50 crystals would dramatically sort of alleviate some of the fatigue or frustration that people have with all these, hard node farms. So I think that would be nice to kind of move ship energy, and not just ship energy, but also cantina energy, and kind of just have all the energies have the same sort of light side, dark side energy refresh cost, going from 50, 50, 50, 100, 100, just across the board. I think that some of those fixes would definitely help the players collect all of these characters.
So a really good solution would be those older characters that are on the hard node, like the First Order TIE Pilot, to put into a Cantina store. Like a store node like Galactic War, because they have said in the past that they're no longer going to be doing that, but that's with newer characters and releases. What about the older ones? Because, definitely we're going to have new players come into the game, and if I was a new player, the influx of hard nodes characters, I wouldn't really know where to farm. I'd be looking at it like, do I farm Clone Wars Chewbacca? Is that a safe bet? Which hard node should I go for? Because at the lower levels, there's a lot of lower, older characters as well. Like, there is some new ones they've put in the lower levels, but you've got to first beat them and level up. So it would be nice to see like the Resistance Trooper be pulled out of there, some of the First Order characters, and put into better farmable locations for those characters, and then use those nodes to put in characters that are the new Marquee if they go in this whole hard node approach.
Well, I'm definitely all for putting some characters in the stores. I think recently they put young Han Solo in the guild store, so that was nice. Definitely would like to see more characters in the stores, but I can also kind of picture that every store right now kind of has a purpose. So I can also see, like, from the other point of view, that why they might not do that. For example, like the arena store, you buy prestige, and the cantina store, you buy the ship credits, and the Galactic War store, you buy the shard store currency. So every store kind of already, and the fleet store, you buy the zetas. So every store kind of has something going for it, which is still kind of valuable. But it would be nice to have at least, maybe even an older character that some people have skipped on. Like, for example, Night Sister Spirit, for me personally, is one of those characters. I still don't have her 7 stars. Other people have yet to grind Rose Tico, and that would be like another character that's not super amazing, but why not put her in a store of some kind? It's not going to break the game. So I do like some of those suggestions. I think also that I can see the method of basically doing this and giving players a chance to acquire more of a faction. You need at least 5 characters, right, to participate in the legendary events. And some of the times it just comes down to just 1 or 2 characters that end up being the bottleneck, and potentially having that bottleneck alleviated by having multiple locations to farm. Even if it's I would actually even take putting a character in the store if it was higher than the normal cost to buy the older characters. Like, for example, if you want to get Chopper in the Cantina store or any of those characters, it's 400 currency to buy 5 shards, I believe. I would take 800 currency to buy 5 shards. I mean, that would still be, I think way better than a hard node, but I haven't exactly run the math, but you get my point. The concept still stands. I think that would also be a decent thing to try out.
This is some really great ideas, and would love to see all this implemented into the game. But for now, we want to know your thoughts on this topic, so be sure to share your opinions in the comments below. Also, a big thank you to Nukin for coming onto the video today.
Well, yeah, this was been awesome, Smithie. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. I had a lot of fun today, and I'm really interested to see what everyone else is going to be talking about in the comments.
And on that note, thank you very much for watching. I'm the Smithie D. May the Force be with you always.